What's up, everybody? It's your boy, the Stallion, here for another episode of Stallion Speaks. How's everybody doing this fine Sunday? We're a little late. I was traveling, but got back safe, and I hope that I'll have some people come on tonight. If not, if I have to do it solo, you have my lovely opinions for the next hour. And remember, as always, if you want to come on, the link is definitely there for you. It's in the chat box right there, StreamYard.com. I hope to have a fun co-host tonight that I know has a lot to speak about, especially how trash the Miami Hurricanes looked yesterday. On the record books, it was a win, but I've never seen a more sad press conference than by this individual behind me. I mean, I feel like I'm Norm Macdonald on Saturday Night Live with Weekend Update, and this is Tickle Me Frank Stallone. Instead, it's, Tickle Me Pinocchio. There he is with that stupid look on his face, and he had it for most of yesterday. And if it wasn't for the defense bailing their ass out, an inferior team, it was a disgusting performance on national TV. And any Miami fan or anybody that would love to come on and talk about it, you have a few minutes to speak your piece, because I'm going to speak mine. First and foremost, I do want to thank all of my viewers. Last week's show was a record-setting one for Stallion Speak, 62 views. I can't thank you guys from the bottom of my heart, and I hope to keep continuing to grow this channel with my other friends and co-hosts with their own shows here at the Rebels with a Cause Network, but over 18,000 views, 126 subscribers. Again, I want to make sure that if you want to come on, we give you your piece and so forth more than anything. And I just want this preference right off the bat that the views and opinions of this program are not affiliated with those of any other organization. These are solely the Italian Stallion's views, as well as his guest co-host and any audience members or fans of the show that want to come on and speak your piece more than anything. And also, like I said, join that chat box live. Click on the show link if you want to come on live, or just voice your opinions on the chat box. This is the speaker of sad truths that you are speaking with, and I know you guys have facts to back it up, and we need to talk about why the certain of uncertainty always happens for the beloved Canes. And it just, my friends, it pains me every time of why we come out. The scroll at the bottom were points that were brought up last week. These are going to be points that are going to be brought up this week. And these are points that are going to be brought up each and every week until they are corrected by either this buffoon or whoever has the cojones to actually take this program where it infinitely deserves. And with the amount of money that has been put in, it was a disgusting effort in homecoming. Hardly anybody showed up, and why would they? It's Miami, guys. If you've never lived in that city, I mean, look, I love college football like the next person. I've lived in a college football town for 30-something years now. And the truth of the matter is, it's great when you have that, but what the hell do you do for the other 38 weeks of the year? Or the of the year. In Miami, it's a party every night. There's something to do. There's a concert going on. There's other sporting events. What the hell has this team garnered? And the fans showed up at the beginning of the year with such energy. And ever since that fourth quarter against Florida State, it's like the team got abducted and got exchanged for heartless wannabe pretenders. And that's what they are. And I want my guests who are watching to come on and speak your piece about this fool who's making way more money than any of us combined will ever see. And he's done nothing to earn it. I don't even think we have the Oregon Mario here, because that guy at least beat a trash conference and got to 2 Rose Bowls. And I'm going to talk about how terrible this conference really is. And it has been terrible for so many years. It's a basketball conference. Nobody can tell me different. It's a baseball conference. It's a women's soccer conference before it is ever going to be considered a football conference. The level of play, the level of refereeing is absolutely atrocious when you look at the SEC and Big Ten that are far superior conferences. And I hate to tell you this, the Big 12 is playing a way better brand right now. Hell, you could even say the AAC is doing better than the ACC in football. And lo and behold, this torchbearer that was the Miami Hurricanes, who joined this conference 21 years ago, has done absolutely nothing. Absolutely nothing in it. And again, the same truths that we have stated for so many years now at the bottom reared their ugly head again yesterday. Why do stud freshmen have sophomore slumps? Why is it so difficult for them to get up for lesser opponents? Even ones that have clowned them in the past, like Syracuse. Why can't we outcoach anyone? Why does weather, where the game is played, the game time, what channel, refs, why does that even matter? Why no trust in your players? You recruited them. You evaluated them. You sure as hell haven't developed them. Why are you not utilizing your full roster of 85 guys? Why would any big-time quarterback come here to sit on the bench? And why are we not playing freshmen over trash transfers? These are the points that are going to be addressed tonight because, we won, if you want to call it that. We didn't cover the 28.5 spread that the line ended up being. Allowed a garbage touchdown to another backup quarterback, the lacrosse player who Fran Brown put as his quarterback, was atrocious yesterday, threw a pick six. Any competent quarterback, had we faced Angeli, who was their starter at the beginning of the year before the young man got hurt and ruptured his Achilles, I would have made mincemeat out of us yesterday, especially with the fact that it took 27 minutes. I'm going to repeat that one more time. It took 27 minutes before you scored a damn point on fucking Syracuse. The same Syracuse that Carolina whipped up on Halloween last Friday night and won 27-10. And we all know how bad Bill Belichick and the Gold Digger are over there in Chapel Hill. Magically, they won another game against another terrible Stanford team. The game was actually 3-3 at halftime. Set college football back at least 35 years. And teams that lost to inferior opponents that have such lead in their pencil and play out of their minds when they play a team that has no brand, that has not been the U. I mean, what is that? We were the University of Miami. We came in, we were the bad guys of college football, and we loved it. And we were the ratings. People wanted to be us, people wanted to beat us, and people wanted to come play here. But there was a standard to play here. And your goal was to not allow it to ever fail. And somewhere along the lines, the powers that be, Donna Shalala, whatever you want to blame it on, moving conferences, we've become a fan base that believes in curses of stadiums. We have been a fan base that has believed a certain uniform combination that has been worn incorrectly is the cause for why we don't win a game. For a while there, even on the chat boxes, whether they were serious or not, we even used the waning globulus of the moon phase of why we don't do well on offense. Larry Coker once said that the air affected the position of the field of why we didn't win a game that was 10-7 against Florida State. And somewhere because of that moron and the firings of Don Soldinger, the firings of Vernon Hargreaves, Curtis Johnson, need I go on, Dan Warner, led to losing pipelines and connections that had taken years for Butch Davis to establish, to reignite and reopen those lines of communication that were set with Jimmy in the 80s. And this guy, we don't even have, I mentioned him at Oregon, we don't even have the guy that was interviewed in the U Part 1. Because that guy actually sounded pretty cool. And I'm like, did you sell out between now and then? You should have bought in. You lobbied for this job. You were pissed you got passed up for it. You didn't want to be Al Golden's assistant. You went to go learn from Nick Saban. You know what I said at the time? I said, if he learns from that man, the GOAT, and I ain't no Alabama fan. If anybody knows me, I ain't no Alabama fan. But I respect what the hell Alabama football was. I respect what the hell Nick Saban was, despite what he did to my Dolphins. I was hoping that this buffoon could learn a thing or two. And I don't think he learned anything, because you would have seen it now, by now. And if Nick Saban said what he said on game day yesterday, and again, if I didn't watch it, I heard about it, he had every right to criticize his former assistant. This rat poison narrative. And then the new narrative this week was, oh, keep those people out. Well, welcome to the big time, bud. Welcome to the job that you wanted. You know, you sat there on the press conference holding that little baby jersey, and you were saying, this is more than a symbol. You made fun of the turnover chain, and it got old after a while, but it was the most exciting thing in college football. And if you want to hang your hat on something, it began a trend that other teams started to adopt. And when they would cause a turnover, somebody would sit on a throne. Tennessee had a trash can with their team name on the side of it, Team 141. Despicable. Despicable from the university I got 2 degrees from. But for the love of God, you could not have been worse than the backpack that Florida State did. Dora the Explorer's backpack. Willie Taggart, baby. Slick Willie. But being that all said, you insulted that. But it was a trend. It was college football. It was the talk of the town that year. The U and the turnover chain. And it had some power. And that team, God, cojones, those seniors. This group of seniors, who are they? That's a mishmash of people that were mercenaries that were brought in. And some of them did some things at the beginning. Now that the tape's out there, you don't see nothing. You're going to lose more juniors to this draft, because who would want to be a part of this shit show going forward? They're just in it now not to get hurt. And that says, playoffs, get that out of your heads right now. If this team makes the playoffs, they will get their shit pushed in so far, you're not going to want it. They finish 10-2 and go to a bowl game like what Larry and AO said this morning on Utah. Great. Then you did the 10 wins for the second straight year, something you haven't done since 2003 when you went, during that run. But my point is that why did you come out uninspired? Why did you come out unprepared? And why were you not motivated? You got embarrassed last week against an inferior SMU team with people that used to be at Miami, whether they were a coach, a backup, or a starter. And whether they did it or not, they had SMU colors on and not the U on the side of their helmet. And you let them come back and beat you. Bad calls, whatever, disciplined. All week, you were getting clowned for that performance. The minute you lose, they love you for a moment. Oh, most complete team we've seen. That's that rat poison. Should have embraced it. You should have walked with your nuts down to your ankles and said, stop us. And then, oh, we're not that team anymore. No, no, no. That was the worst thing you could have said. And you looked at the camera, Pinocchio. And that's your new name. It's not Mario, because that little plumber can actually get Princess Peach. You slip on the banana peel every time, asshole. Every time. State champs. That was disgusting yesterday. You should have wanted to go out there and beat their ass. They clowned you last year. They prevented you. They prevented you from literally going to the playoff. And you had a 21-0 lead on their ass. You're despicable. That man clowned you, that other coach. And you two are arguing. And the ACC refs had to intertwine because two buffoons, Fran Brown and this moron, I was embarrassed for you engaging in that. What you should have done is you had your guys ready to play and kicked their ass from the start. I got somebody about to come on. What's up, Ellen? How you doing, love? Speak your piece on the chat box, love. If I've said anything wrong, correct me. But I have a guest in the back that wants to come on to speak their piece, and I want them to have full reign. And when they're ready and they give me the thumbs up, I will bring them on. But Ellen, if you got anything to say, you were bringing it this morning on You Talk, bring it again today on Stallion Speaks. And yet, I am supposed to be the bad fan. Why am I a bad fan? Because I speak the truths that you don't want to believe? I have standards. A true Miami fan has standards because we know what it was when it was great. And people are, oh, you live in the past. Bullshit. Bullshit. Because the facts are we are spending way too much money for a performance that you couldn't put one damn point on a pathetic team that is just going through the motions. Got a guy ready to come on. I know he's just as passionate about it. But I just want it to be said. You want to come on and speak? I will give you your time to speak. That's what this show is all about. But that being said, I want everybody to give a warm welcome to our guy, LJ. And people are, oh, you live in the past. Bullshit. Bullshit. Because the facts are we are spending way too much money.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. I can hear you, bud.
Hold on, I can't hear myself. Hold on 1 second.
No problem. No problem.
Trying to get this right.
You bet. I'll bring him on when he's ready. Yes, Ellen, I'm going to highlight that. These fans have gotten used to mediocrity. And you know why that is? Because they don't know no different. And when I do my Idiots of the Week segment later, you'll understand why. I highlighted these individuals. And you know what? They can come at me. They can have their argument. They don't want to start over. What are you starting over from? So we beat a shitty Florida State team. They got beat by Clemson, who can't beat anybody. So we beat the Gators, who absolutely got their asses handed to them yesterday by Kentucky. Absolutely. And Notre Dame is the only game that you can hang your hat on. But as a true Miami fan, can you really sit there and, if we played that game this Saturday, would we even score in the first half? Again, these are things that a true Miami fan needs to really ask themselves. Because at the end of the day, great that you're winning these games against past teams, these old rivals. But combined, this is how many national championships they have in the last 10 years. When you beat an Alabama, when you beat an LSU, when you beat, listen, they're a dumpster fire right now too. But what I'm getting at, when you beat an Ohio State, that's when you need to talk to me. We beat a Clemson team a couple years ago. I still don't know how we did it, but we did it. But the truth of the matter is this man right here has made even fans believe there were problems. And we have given him ample time to try to win. Cignati's finding ways to win those tight games. These things happen. They came out unfocused. It was a noon game. An opponent that had just one last little gasp of effort, and you underestimated them, but you won it when it counted. Could you honestly believe that if Mario was in that Indiana position yesterday, that they could go down the field and score? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Ellen says we wouldn't score in the first half because Terrible said it a long time ago. It took a long time to figure out the defense. You bet. Terrible. I like that name. Pinocchio Terrible should be his name. LJ, you give me the thumbs up. You can come on, my brother, and speak your piece. I'm almost wondering if there's a little bit of a delay with the YouTube, but I think that if you hit the link, you can come on and it'll just sound normal. You just need to mute the YouTube and you'll be good to go, brother. Honestly, the show. But I'm just over it. I'm absolutely over it. How did you not be prepared after what they did to you last year? How? How did they do that to you? It was homecoming. The great Ken Dorsey was honored yesterday. And that was the most pathetic performance. And I bring those teams up because they deserve to still be brought up. I remember Ken Dorsey and that team lost unexplainably because they had a bad first half on the road against Washington. Maybe Butch's coaching aired its ugly head. He believed in James Jackson when he should have been rolling with Portis. But the team came back in the second half and just ran out of time. But I'll tell you this, they remembered that Washington loss. They knew that that loss was the reason, even though they beat Florida State head-to-head, was the reason that the computers screwed them from beating Oklahoma and winning that national championship. So what did they do? They came out and they beat the absolute living shit out of Washington. Didn't matter that September 11th happened and delayed that game from that weekend it was supposed to take place to the end of December, or the end of November, rather, for December, Thanksgiving weekend. We beat the absolute shit out of them. And I still remember Dorsey looking at each and every one of his linemen and receivers saying, keep pouring it on. We were like, it was like the headmasters against the students in Monty Python and the Meaning of Life. But I'm going to try to bring LJ on because I know he's got something to say. Anybody else has that opportunity? I'm going to try to bring LJ What's on. Up, brother? I know he's got something to say.
So, can you hear me?
I can hear you. Just mute that in the background.
I can't really hear the what you saying. Something going on. I'm gonna fix that, but man, everything you're saying is spot on. I spoke on this, like I've been speaking on this for like 2 years now. On my brother Lonzo Oliver podcast, and now Mario is trying to break the bank with a quarterback. He think that's going to solve all our problems, whatever. Now he's trying to break the bank. He's put it out there that he's trying to break the bank to bring a quarterback in. We just had Cam Ward, the number 1 pick of the draft, and still couldn't win. So how is you breaking the bank gonna solve this problem? You trying to put it all of the blame on Carson Beck, who I never really thought that he was gonna, make a difference anyway. I thought that it could possibly work if they actually coached the team and ran the team properly and kept him out of his own self. I felt like, yeah, he could have. It could have worked out. It could have worked out, but again, Cristobal, and he doesn't have a coaching identity, so he has to get lucky with a defensive coordinator and an offensive coordinator in order to be successful. But even with that, with his control issues, he can't get out of the way of his own self.
Exactly.
This whole thing about this offense, we saw last night. Even though it took us all that time to score, we saw last night. He finally, well, that was, I feel like yesterday, that was Shannon Dawson. Maybe yesterday I felt like he let Shannon Dawson really call his plays, because it's like we'll drive the ball and get in the red zone, and then it's like we condense ourselves down. Even if it's a third or fourth and short, we condense our offense down to this power run team. We got to get 1 or 2 yards, and we just bunch everything together, bring in extra offensive linemen when we got all these athletes, and run the plays that anybody can figure out what we're going to do.
Yes.
Any defensive coordinator can figure out what we're going to do. And yesterday I saw the throwback play to the quarterback, the play with Malachi. I felt like that was Shannon Dawson calling those plays or whatever. I felt like those are the plays we got for him, because we got those plays for him the first year with Tyler Van Dyke. When we had Tyler Van Dyke, I saw those plays in the very beginning, but then somewhere along the lines, we started this bulk backfield, power backfield, 3-back, short yardage thing that we do all the time. And I'd be like scratching my head, like, we got all of these, we got 5 running backs that we can put in. We got like 10 receivers that we can use, and we don't use them. We just condense down and we run these little shitty plays that's like anybody can figure out, oh, y'all finna run up the middle. We finna just clog the middle, because they're not gonna run off tackle. They're gonna try to overpower us or whatever. And we can't overpower everybody. So yesterday I felt like, that was Shannon Dawson. The play with my Francis leaking out, the play with Malachi throwing it back. We need to do those type of plays. We need to get creative when we get in the red zone, because we have a problem when we going 15 and in. We get in the red zone, but then it stalls, like, because we don't have the plays, or when it's third or fourth and short. But we have play, like I've been saying this since the season started. Our best running back is Gerard Pringle.
Mm-hmm.
He's our best running back.
Yes.
No offense to none of the other running backs. I love all our running backs, but watching Gerard Pringle in high school and in all of spring, I told everybody, they thought I was crazy. I said he's our best running back, and simply because his running style. He's a creative runner. When you put the ball in that kid's hands, the way our offensive lineman is structured, we got big mammoth offensive linemen, and a lot of times we don't get push. We don't get push.
None.
I think we're a better pass blocking offensive line than run blocking offensive line.
Correct.
And it's probably because of their size, because of the size of the offensive lineman we got. And finally, somebody saw that, okay, we're gonna put Pringle in the game, boy. We're not gonna try to save him for next year. We're gonna put him in the game, and you see how that kid runs. Mark Fletcher, he's the running back that's gonna ground and pound it in there, and if he breaks it through, he's not the 6'2", 225, 230 running back that's gonna run you over in the post as well. He's gonna try to throw a move and get around you or whatever like that. He's more of a finesse. He can catch the ball out the backfield. You got Shamar Brown from
North Dakota State.
Brown. He comes in. He's our short yardage, grinded out back. He doesn't have great speed or explosion or whatever, but he's a smart runner, and he's a consistent runner. He's gonna get you 3 or 4 every time, and he's a great pass blocker and just a sound player. But he's not a typical Miami running back. Then you got Jordan Lyles. I just don't know what's going on with Jordan Lyles. It's like he was injured, but he's just not the player he was last year. Mm-hmm. Every time I've been waiting on him to get chances, I don't know.
Mm-hmm. You know, LJ, I got a question for you. LJ, this is all spot. This is great stuff. I got a question for you. And so if you've been paying attention to that ticker, you've hit on a lot of the points. You're asking these questions, and I think somebody that's getting paid the amount of money that Mario gets paid and listen, if he the heat, get out of the kitchen. You wanted this job. You wanted the responsibility to bring back this great program. to what it could be. Again, these were his words. That's why I'm calling him Pinocchio. He put the blame on everybody else except for him, but he entrusted it's back to work. But it shouldn't be this hard. And it falls back on him for this reason. Beanod says JoJo couldn't catch a cold. Let the young guys play. So JoJo, he showed flashes with a little bit he played last year, but he was overshadowed by those upperclassmen. Lyle had some times when he looked great. But the question is, and Lofton, when he got some burn, looked great. But what the hell happened between November and August? Because I heard in the spring, these three guys were going to be your guys to be counted on, and they've not made any appearances. Now, if they did something stupid and were being punished, I wish that we could just be transparent and just share that, honestly, because guess what? That shows you have control of this program. This man went out there and backed up Josh Heupel because Josh Heupel didn't want to pay Nico all that money for UT, and Nico's now at UCLA or what have you. And it's like, so you jump in and say, oh, the U would never do anything like that. Well, you are cowering, Mario, and you're afraid of people that are going to take their ball and go home. Let them. You are supposed to be this great recruiter. Why do you not have trust in the young guys? LJ, I agree with you 1,000%. Pringle, if you follow football, I knew that boy. But how can you keep him off the field? And nobody stays 4 years anymore, man. You're lucky that you get 3. You know how sad it is that, Francis and Bain, they're gone. They're gone. And I know that at times maybe they've not been as amazing as we thought they were, but they are difference makers. They have had flashes. But the problem is that you thrusted Francis right off the bat because you had nothing else there. And Bain played all last year hurt. I would have redshirted him last year. I understand you really didn't have anything else in the cupboard. You had Cam Ward. Your defense was shit. But that's on you because you didn't have the right coordinator here. You didn't. And you can't get out of your way. You said it best, that system of control. But my thing, Beanod, we're going to talk about that. We are, because that was very telling about what Todd McShay released. And we're going to talk about that. And I don't think this guy's the answer either.
I have something to say about that too.
Absolutely. But what I'm asking you, LJ, because you hit on some big points, why pay money to trash transfers that have really not been the guy over there, and you roll with these guys? Obviously, you saw something in Malachi and more to bring them in. Hell, man, Dylan Upshaw looked damn great yesterday. Honestly, didn't miss a beat.
For a second, I thought that was Malachi.
I did too. And actually, you know what I said? I said, I thought Tony Johnson was on the injury report and wasn't playing. Then I had to look at the number, and I'm like, whoa, look at this kid. Why hasn't he been getting burned? And then Pringle, if Lyle's not ready and you need a change of pace lightning back, get him out there, man. What are you doing?
Don't forget about Chris Humphrey-Wheatley.
Exactly.
We just got him rotting on the bench.
Yeah. And he can actually play both positions. He can play DB. That's what he did if you were following recruiting or you understand the Miami scene. I ain't even down in the Miami scene, but I follow high school football. I know what's good. I've won 2 of these damn things. And I'm just saying that for fuck's sake, why do you make it so hard, Mario? Why are you like this? And it's like I said earlier, we don't even have the version he was at Oregon. We don't even have the version that was interviewed on the U Part 1 documentary. If we have that guy and he understands what you need to do and unleash these boys and let them grow and show them the trust, because I think that's the other thing too. I don't think our players, they like him at first, but then when you get to be around somebody, you're going to see their tendencies, and it's like, this dude's a square. This dude he's a square. And it's like, you need to find your own nutsack, man. You do this jiu-jitsu. I don't give a shit if you can kick my ass one-on-one, but you're losing to inferior teams. Teams yesterday that lost despicably to unacceptable. I mean, Louisville yesterday. Where was Louisville's intensity, brother? You mean Jeff Tedford outcoached great Brian Brom at Louisville? So you can't use. Do you remember the narrative started slow last year. Oh man, it's really hard, to go from the East Coast to the West Coast. And Mario took the team there a day earlier so they could get acclimated and blah blah blah. And the thing is Cal didn't have that problem coming over to Louisville and kicking their ass. And Louisville's in the Central Time Zone, so wasn't that kind of a weird thing for the Cal players? They handled business. I mean,
They handled business.
We're worried about what time the game is played. We're worried about what uniform combination. I mean, I get it. I'm superstitious too, like the next guy. But what happened to just getting your pads on and want to kick that other team's ass? And the Syracuse guy sacks Beck right off the bat, and he does one of these deals. Can you imagine? He should have been his face broken on the next play by somebody.
Yep.
I mean, Randall Hill would have crack blocked his ass, and he wouldn't even have been in the game. And little Randall Hill. And I'm like, and then everybody says to me, "Oh, you living in the past." Fuck you. Okay?
Yeah.
The thing I say is this, man. Those that don't respect history are doomed to repeat it. And this program fell because the powers that be, that became the powers that be, didn't give a shit about it. They wanted to make it an academic institution, and that's fine. But guess what? What built this brand? The football. The football got you the sponsorship and the poured in. And then you had wonderful doctors and professors and people that wanted to be a part of it. The city sells itself, man. Yeah. And you gave up on football and gave the biggest fuck you to the alumni that have made all this money at the NFL and money that we'll never see, that love this program, this brotherhood. And they did that. What's up, Chris Kane? If you want to come on, brother, come on. But anyway, I know that was a lot to throw back at you, LJ, but you were hitting on all these points. But why can't we figure it out as fans, and we're not getting paid $9-something million a year or an endless amount of checks to cut? Go ahead.
I just feel like it's overanalyzation. You overanalyzing things, and you're just not reading the right things. So you're not reading the right things. You're so focused on control and a certain look. Like right now, he's wasting a lot of energy in banning Willis McGahee. Prestigious. That's Miami royalty.
Pathetic.
Like why can't Miami go back to the old Miami way when we had Butch Davis? When Butch Davis played, do people realize that Willis McGahee was on the roster in a running backfield with Frank Gore, Clinton Portis,
James Jackson. Jackson was there, but Willis redshirted in 2000.
Najee Davenport. Had running back. We had the top tier running backs of the world on that team or whatever. Yes, and guess what? Just because Frank Gore was a 5-star phenom, that didn't mean Willis McGahee was 4th string. Willis McGahee ended up being the starter that year. Frank Gore got hurt. But hey, if Frank Gore wasn't running the ball right, you go with the next best thing or whatever like that. So I'm saying if Fletcher, this might not be Fletcher game. If we giving him opportunities, we gave him 8 carries and he ain't did nothing with it, keep shuffling the deck. If I'm gonna give you an example. If CJ Daniels get out there and drop a pass, we got more put more in. We got JoJo, put JoJo in. We got Tony Johnson, we got Chance Robinson, we got Upshaw, we got players for at every position, even on the offensive line. If somebody miss a block, put the next offensive lineman in. We got Ryan Rodriguez. We got players that we can plug in if this player is not acting right. If we missing tackles with the linebackers, whatever. If what's the transfer? Muhammad.
Troy from Rutgers.
Put Popo in the game. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? We can replace.
His dad was a legacy.
Everything. Yeah, one of the safeties. I love our safeties. I love Jeremiah Poser and Jacoby Thomas. I love them too.
And Keontae Scott. I mean, those 3 guys have been a blessing.
Keontae Scott is amazing. And I played that position when I played football. So I love me some Keontae Scott. He's coming behind Corey Couch because Corey Couch played that for years for us or whatever. When we first when Manny brought the striker position right there, whatever. Manny played it. Corey Couch played it, but now Keontae Scott, he's a baller.
Mm-hmm.
He's a baller. He's like my favorite on the defense in the secondary right now.
And it's a shame we only have him for 1 year. You know what I mean? And again, it's like
Yeah,
that's
it's a
scars
shame.
to
It's a
you.
shame. We're gonna have to find another dog next year or whatever. But
We are.
I say Isaiah Taylor probably get the chance to play that next year or whatever. He comes in after him. I know it was Jason's son, but he's a little smaller. But hey, if he balls out, he could play that. He could play that spot. We had what was the DB we had got out the transfer portal from we got him last year. He ended up getting picked
Oh,
up.
Jadeus Richard, the one that just came back from the
Jadeus
ACL
Richards is
injury.
the other one. He's smaller. He wore 22 for us.
Oh,
he wore number
hell.
22. Played last year.
Yeah.
But he went to St. Thomas Aquinas and he came out in the portal. I forgot his name.
Yeah.
Jaden Davis.
Jaden
Davis. Like those type of players. But like I just feel like we miss out on certain things. I feel like we're missing out with Ruben Bain. Ruben Bain, we're trying to make him this defensive end. When he gets to the NFL, he's not going to play end. He's not an edge. And the reason why I say that, I love Ruben Bain. I know the family. I'm a friend of the family. But I just feel like he's better. He was an All-American on the inside. And when he gets to the NFL, he's going to play inside. Just the way he's built. He doesn't have enough speed to play the edge full time. He's more inside guy. So I feel like you got guys like Armando Blunt and Marquise Lightfoot, or you got plenty of guys that's behind them that you can play on the edge or whatever, and you can keep Ruben. You can bring Ruben off the edge or whatever. But I don't think you should play him exclusively off the edge because he was a freshman All-American on the inside. So why not let him wreak havoc on the inside? Whether you put him on the inside or outside, it's going to be hard to block him either way.
And how about this one, LJ? So guess what? You just did one of my points. Why can we not outcoach anybody? Because here's the thing. If they are okay, so let me give you for an example. Louisville is doing quick passes, okay? They're not allowing him the time because they knew their offensive line was trash. It was exposed the week before against Virginia when they played. The problem that I have, or 2 weeks before, but the problem is that why is Heatherman not recognizing that and putting him inside? Disguise him. Even line him up like Will Anderson was at Alabama, and give him a running start to come in through that way. It's like disguise your packages. The other thing that I have lobbied for years about that always happens to Miami, but we never do it, brother. And I'm not trying to dog Jason Taylor or anybody. And I'll be honest with you, I think Damian Lewis has done an unbelievable job with our guys this year. But what we had before, Big Joe, he was a terrible coach that followed Mario forward. Horrendous. And the thing is, why do we not come forward with hands up to bat the damn ball? How many balls are batted by our quarterbacks? And then it's tipped and intercepted. That would be right there for ball hawks like the guys we got. Or the guys we even had last year. These are fundamentals that are not taught. And it annoys the piss out of me that here I am, all 5'8", 220 pounds of me that threw myself around playing weak side linebacker up here in little old Tennessee. But
Uh-oh. Where he went? You there, bro? Uh-oh. We're going to wait for him to come back, everybody. But, I just feel like, Hagerman in the Louisville game, he didn't make adjustments fast enough. I feel like they got the ball out of the quarterback's hand very quickly, and I feel like he never adjusted to that. I feel like he should have adjusted to made adjustments when recognized what they was doing to us and made adjustments, and we just didn't make adjustments. The whole Louisville game, and that's what ultimately did us in. Once I would have saw the quarterback getting the ball out that fast, I would have had directed my defensive linemen to pass rush, but get their hands up to make it difficult for the quarterback to actually complete these passes in these windows that he was completing it in. And also, we didn't recognize the back out of the backfield. They was killing us with the wheel routes and routes out of the backfield. I would have got my linebackers some more help with that in that game. And also, I would have probably bracketed that receiver number 5 for Louisville, because he was the one who was the most trouble. He hurt us the most, and that should have been in the game plan going in to stop him and stop Isaac Brown from getting yards, because Isaac Brown is so dynamic that it's going to be hard to stop him for a whole game. He was going to break at least one, you know what I'm saying, that game. I just feel like he's just that good of a player. I wanted Miami to recruit him when he was coming out of high school, but Miami thought they was bigger than they was looking at something else. They didn't take a look at him. But he's a speedster. But what did we do to other speedsters that we had in the past, like Brashard Smith and Chris Johnson? We didn't use them. So I mean,
and they're balling out. They're balling out. I mean, this guy, that's why I call him Pinocchio. I mean, he convinced us, oh, these guys aren't good enough to play here. Well, they're good enough to go to SMU and almost won an ACC title in their first year here. The other thing, spot on, about you had 2 weeks to prepare for that game. And so instead of going on podcasts and eating your own rat poison that you were warning your own players about, you should have been preparing your team to play. Instead, you're worried about what Willis McGahee's doing and banning him. Honestly, I mean, it's a clown show over there.
Yeah.
And here's my question. So here you got another thing that you just brought up, and you hit another one of my points. Now you got CJ Bailey coming in here, and this staff didn't think he was good enough to play here. And he's going to ball out on Saturday. I mean, I give Heatherman every chance in the world to prove me wrong. But if you do another slow start like yesterday against a competent quarterback like him and a coach like DeBoer that already knows how to beat Mario, and why is it that NC State always has a kid from Miami ready to kick our ass every time we play? Bobby Washington didn't make it here and had a big game. We barely won that one in 2004. That was fool's gold because we knew what happened that following week in Chapel Hill when Connor Barth makes that field goal in 2004. But what I'm getting at is a couple of years ago, that wide receiver lit us up. He lit us up. We couldn't cover him. And this is a team that Kirby Freeman, NC State, could only muster 86 yards, and all of it was on one play to when he hit Darryl for that long touchdown. And Kirby Freeman didn't have a 100-yard game as a Miami quarterback, and we lose to NC State. And they were trashed in that year in Randy Shannon's first year. I mean, it's just like, this is a team that's been a thorn in our side, and you should have that history at your disposal and just say, listen, it's senior day. Why don't we send our seniors out? It's going to be another lackadaisical effort at 3:30 on ESPN on Saturday. And then this guy and Fran Brown, John across each other like 2 5-year-olds, man. And the refs,
5-year-olds, man.
Yes. And the refs had to get, and why are you even entertaining this fool? If anything, you should have had your team do the talking for him. You just smile at him and shake his hand after the game. And if he doesn't want to do that and blow by you, the hell with him. Norvell did it. But I'm just getting at, ever since that fourth quarter, you neutered this fucking team. And you should have unleashed them, and you should have owned that we were back. You should have make these guys believe, man, football is a mental game and so forth. And you're telling them not to be the wild men. We're not that anymore, he said after the game. State champs, back to work. It's all bullshit. It's no different than the hype train and the shit we've been fed. Oh, guys flying around, I mean, and the media, they clown you the minute and that should have been inspiring enough to come out and prove them wrong, that you guys aren't trash, And then here's the other thing, LJ, and I want the chat box to answer this question. Supposedly, they don't hit in practice. And that's why that there were times where maybe we weren't as physical. We were taking bad angles. You got 85 damn guys on the roster. You got preferred walk-ons that are tackling dummies. That's what everybody uses. Okay, I'm sorry. You want to be a part of this program in some capacity, then you've got to be scout team offense, scout team defense. You've got to be physical. But yet you have guys that are now on this injury report this long, and I'm like, where did they get injured? Did they twist an ankle in the parking lot? I mean, I'm not trying to be an asshole when I say this. What I'm trying to say is, why do these things continue to happen to the University of Miami? And I'm watching Vanderbilt kick some ass against Auburn. They started slow. Guess what their coaches did yesterday? They found a way to negate Auburn's big, strong defensive line. They went fast tempo, which negated how many times they could substitute. They put their players in the right position. They were using Eli Stowers, a tight end, in the correct way. I wish we could use Lofton like that. They're throwing their guys down the field, and they got a 5'8" little midget quarterback in Diego Pavia who has more cojones than any quarterback on our roster right now, and he's been the best thing to happen to a losing inferior program. And I'm like, why can they do it? Why can their alum come back and get them going? And this is his third year. And they're 2 wins away, LJ, from making the playoff. They get a bye week. They play Kentucky at home for senior day. And then they got to come to Knoxville to beat Big Brother Tennessee, which is looking very shaky right now. And so Vanderbilt could get to the playoff before the University of Miami. That right there. It's unbelievable. And it is a big joke. So, yeah.
Yeah, man. I feel like if when it doesn't work out with Mario, I don't want us to overanalyze the situation. I want us to you really got to know it. Like somebody said this, I heard this quote from somebody this week, and they said, I think I heard it from Nivet. It doesn't matter who the coach. I mean, it matters who the coach is, but we don't need this hot shot coach, top 10, top 5 coach that's supposed to be the top coach on the market for us to get. I feel like we got the coach right now. If we don't want Mario, anoint Jason Taylor as the head coach. And the reason why I'm saying this because at least Jason Taylor has an identity. Jason Taylor, if he's the head coach, we'll know that he's gonna be a defensive minded head coach. You know what I'm saying? He's gonna get him a defensive coordinator, then he's gonna work with the defense. You know what I'm saying? He's not an offensive lineman that doesn't have no identity and doesn't know X's and O's like that. Mario doesn't know X's and O's. All Mario knows is O-line shit. That's it. Mm-hmm. That's all he knows is O-line shit. He might portray like he can't coach the DBs. He can't coach the linebackers. He can't coach the defensive linemen. He can't coach the receivers. All he can coach is offensive line. So at least Jason Taylor is a NFL Hall of Famer, respected. And I watch him on the sidelines but he has limits. So I don't judge him based upon, because he's our edge coach. But if he was the D coordinator or the head coach, we wouldn't drop off in recruiting. We would have a coach with an identity who has passion. And I also feel like Jason Taylor would accept the help from the alumni or bring in some of his buddies his Dolphin buddies that he played with that can help him out on his staff.
Like Sam Madison, Terrell Buckley. I mean, listen, I'm going to be honest with you, LJ. Zach Thomas. I'm glad that you brought that up, LJ, because do you know that I heard on a podcast, and I can't remember who said it, and maybe it was this morning on U Talk. I don't know if it was that one or not, but somebody called in or said that when you look at the sidelines of the University of Miami, the assistant coaches, nobody's working with anybody. It's only Jason Taylor takes his guys to find out what's going on out there. I mean, it was Cam Ward literally grabbing the iPad and telling his receivers, this is what you need to do. Beck is on the sidelines throwing a tantrum like a 5-year-old. And I'm like, that's not a dude. I'm not trying to dog the kid. And I'm sorry if you've got mental problems and you got hurt by that blonde girl and your arm was shellacked in that game and you're recovering, then you weren't ready to be the guy here, okay? You weren't worth $4 million. But what I'm getting at is We need to find the people here that know how to do that. And you're right about Jason Taylor, somebody that could embrace that he knows what Miami's all about. Lane Kiffin would come here and I think would be Miami Vice, Don Johnson, and like Jimmy Johnson was, and would unleash these guys. You don't neuter the talent. You unleash these boys. These are dogs. These are wolves ready to attack. And you've neutered them. I mean, you neutered them from the Florida State game. You should have wanted to put 70 on them fools. You had the audience that night. You shut the door on their program. What you did was you lost whatever advantage you had because you beat that team 70-3 in Tallahassee. Louisville can game plan, but the minute shit goes a little bad, that game plan goes out the window and it's pee-pee pants time. I really believe that. And you could have done that. But no, you played at the level of your competition, unprepared, unmotivated, uninspired. And do you blame why that crowd was so terrible yesterday? Because there's other shit to do with your money.
No.
I mean, merchandise is expensive, concessions, parking. Go ahead, brother.
If the quarterback, if the original starting quarterback would have played for Syracuse yesterday, we lose that game. A lot of people, I hope everybody know that. Like the original quarterback, I watched Syracuse this whole year, and that quarterback got hurt in like the second or third
Clemson.
game.
It happened in the Clemson game, right in the first quarter. Yeah,
it would have been the same thing. It was, and it was a point in the game when we was going back and forth with them. Like, I'm like, damn, they can take the game still. It just so happens they turned the ball over and just couldn't capitalize off of what we did, what we gave them, and couldn't really turn it over. And then eventually, our talent overplayed them. I feel like our talent overplayed them, but I still feel like we got another 3 iffy games coming up. I feel like we got to go to Blacksburg, even though Virginia Tech is not so-called good. We're gonna go into enemy territory and we got to play. Anything can happen because we're gonna come out and we're gonna do the same thing. Things are not gonna work out, and then by the third or fourth quarter, by the third quarter it's gonna be like 7-3 or 0-3 or something like that, and then it's going to be like this is going to determine the game or where the game goes, just because we ain't jumping on our opponents like that. We figuring we too talented not to be having this figured out. We're too talented. Call the plays now. Malachi is not our only athlete that we have. I love Malachi. I love baby Jesus, but we got plenty more receivers like that we can.
Why don't you use Josh Moore and throwing? I mean, you're down there at the 5-yard line and you got a 6'4" guy in Josh Moore, and you threw it up to him against South Florida. What changed in 7 games? Honestly, he's still 6'4". I mean, I don't think he shrunk. I mean, Mario would lead you to believe he did. I mean, I don't know. And the thing is that you just hit on something really important there. Virginia Tech, they're not complete trash, and ever since they got rid of it, they have actually been competitive. Do you know they beat this NC State team we're about to face? And here's the thing. They had Louisville down at halftime last week. Big, bad Louisville. And the thing is those Virginia Tech has always been a thorn in Miami's side. And they considered it a rivalry.
Remember last year when we had Cam Ward? They had that quarterback, the same quarterback.
And Drones is his cousin.
Drones is his cousin.
Yeah.
He's back. We could lose that game.
We do terrible against athletic quarterbacks. I mean, you're going to face 3 quarterbacks and this freshman kid at Pitt, they're playing a complete different level. And I'm going to say something right now. Don't be surprised if Pitt knocks off Notre Dame next week. That's a perfect recipe for Notre Dame to lose that game. It's at noon. It's at Pitt. I
feel like I've been upset with Mario, even though I feel like I am gonna give him his props on. I feel like he'll be a great GM one day for somebody, because he's a great recruiter. He doesn't get all the talent that he's supposed to get, because I still feel like he messed up the deal with Jeremiah Smith. We supposed to have Jeremiah Smith, and I was an avid person that was saying, how do Miami get Jeremiah Smith to commit? Well, we already had JoJo Trader. JoJo Trader been committed to Miami since he was like a sophomore. So So I'm like, okay, since we got him and that's his guy, just go ahead and bring CJ. Regardless of how y'all projecting him, regardless of how y'all see him, the kid has won three back-to-back, I think, state titles or whatever. If you paid attention to that Chaminade team was like the team when Jeremiah and JoJo and them was there. We also had
Zaquan Patterson.
Zaquan Patterson. And then all of these kids play for a famous Pop Warner team called the Miami Gardens Ravens. Yeah. And these are the same players, the same coaching staff that coached the Miami Gardens Ravens went to Chaminade and brought all their players back together. That's why Chaminade was good. So if he would have did his research, he could have had Jeremiah Smith even before we knew was getting Cam Ward. Because if he would have just recruited, we didn't even recruit CJ. We didn't recruit CJ Bailey.
No. They said he wasn't good enough to play here. How dare they?
I was saying that, and I was like, who is y'all people that's analyzing these players? Who is telling y'all that they're not good enough to play here? I went crazy, and I was like, we need to get Isaac Brown at Homestead. We need to get him at Homestead or whatever. And he was just making all the plays, and I was like, yo, they had this kid listed as like a 2 or 3 star, and I'm like, I don't care what his stars is. He needs to be at Miami.
Yes.
We didn't recruit him. We let him go. CJ, I was like, if we bring CJ Bailey in along with Jeremiah Smith, that can be determining. That can bring Jeremiah Smith here. And we never did it. And then CJ ends up committing to NC State. Then we go on to get what's the quarterback? Like the third string quarterback was
Judd Anderson.
Judd Anderson. We go get Judd Anderson. I'm like, no offense to Judd, but it's just like
no. And let me tell you something. You come to me and offer me a scholarship. Hell yeah, I'll come to the University of Miami.
Exactly.
And, be a 6'6" clipboard holder.
And then you're putting out. I don't appreciate you're putting out Mario putting out. We're gonna break the bank for another transfer portal quarterback. Yo, you just got what's my guy name? Luke Nickel. Got my guy Luke Nickel out of Milton High School. Because I live in Atlanta now.
Yeah.
You just went and got Luke Nickel,
state champion, back-to-back state champs,
and promised this kid he's gonna be the future. And then you got Darion Coleman coming right behind him or whatever like that.
Who can get dudes to come with him?
And not to mention, you still got Emory Williams on the roster, like. And you putting it out there that you finna bring in another quarterback, like
and
you might as well should have just brought CJ in and then recruited those guys and let them compete.
Yeah, exactly. And just do it like we used to do
a quick fix and go in a portal, like that's gonna be a quick fix. Like I'm cool with the transfer portal or whatever. I'm cool with adding players and strengthening your team. But I'm not cool with like just because you brought this player over here and you paying him, if he don't pan out in my system, I don't care. I'm still gonna play the guy. I'm gonna go with the guy that I see with my own eyes, who's consistent, who's making the plays. We brought in, we overhauled our whole defensive back position on the defense this year from last year. We overhauled everybody.
And they panned out. Thank God.
Charles Brantley from Michigan State.
He's the only one that hasn't panned out. He's the only one. But you brought in Xavier Lucas from Wisconsin. They tried to sue us. They were mad about losing him.
Xavier Lucas. We brought all these players in or whatever. But just like you saw, Charles Brantley came in from Michigan State. He was a projected draft pick when we first got him out the portal. They was talking all this stuff about him. When he came to Miami, he didn't turn into. He's not even. I don't even think he's listed on the roster right now.
Yeah, he's not.
And he's supposed to be a projected player, and that's what I'm saying about transfer players as opposed to freshmen. I don't care what you are. When I put you out there, you got to make plays. I've been telling everybody, since the spring, I've been seeing Gerard Pringle. He's just been the most creative running back out of the 5 running backs that we got, and. It's just about every time he touches the ball, it's just the way he runs. He knows when to bounce it out. He knows when to cut it in. He knows it just and that's the problem that I have with the running backs like with Mark Fletcher, sometimes Jordan Lyles, and even Brown. Sometimes they don't hit the hole, they don't see the hole, they don't know. Sometimes I'd be like, don't run it in there, bounce it out. It's just like a natural gift you got to have as a runner just to know these things with our type of offensive line. And sometimes I feel like our running backs, it's the play calling, but I also feel like sometimes it's the player that, they gave me the ball, and I suppose they told the players meant to go in here, so I'm just going here. But you see everybody there. No, you can bounce it out. The outside is open. It's about being creative as a runner. And our coaching staff didn't peep that. They didn't peep that Pringle is. I've been saw it. They're just looking at Pringle like he's a freshman. We don't really want to trust him like that. That kid ain't turned the ball over yet. Y'all didn't even test him to even try him to see if he'll turn the ball, because we know in the history of college sports that if you put a freshman in, they're prone to make a mistake. But in the case of JoJo, he finally gets in. He has 84 yards receiving, and then he has this big drop that causes an interception. And they don't go back to him. Mm-hmm. That's just like, is that showing your players confidence? He's a redshirt freshman. If you would have played him more,
maybe he catches that.
If you would have been rotating him in this year with the players, just because you brought CJ Daniels in, you're paying CJ Daniels. You brought Marion in because you're paying Marion, and still rotate them. You still lose them. I love Baby Jesus, but I'm upset because you got Ray Joseph and you got Nye Carr on the bench, and they can't burn.
And Nye Carr, you convinced not to go to the portal. Why did he stay?
Transferring.
Yes.
And it just all for you to not use him. Bobby Washington Jr. They haven't used that. They brought him in with Brashard Smith, and he had all his speed or whatever. They haven't used, even though he's been injured a lot, but they just can't figure out where to play him. They don't use Malik Bryant. They don't use Malik Bryant to his full potential.
And the guy was actually getting some good burn at defensive end last year. They moved him from linebacker down to defensive end.
He was a 5-star linebacker, wasn't he?
He was, and we were fighting with the Gators to get him, and he's built like an Adonis. He's 6'4", he's 235 pounds.
We have enough talent to rotate all the players. We have enough talent with Baby Jesus. Since they're keying in on Baby Jesus, use him as a decoy and put Ray Joseph in. Use Ray Joseph. He can't hurt us. He only could do help. If Upshaw did what he did, I know for a fact Ray Joseph can do something. And the reason why I feel like Ray Joseph is not being used is because of Mario's control. He has this beef going on with Uncle Luke. Uncle Luke said some stuff about him. Anybody that says anything about Mario, he's gonna ban them, and he's gonna have an issue with them, just like he had an issue with Willis McGahee. You can't, and just like how he has control over Shannon Dawson. You know what I'm saying? Mario is a control freak.
And for such a big guy, don't you think he should be tougher, LJ? I mean, this ain't the baby gap you're coaching here. This isn't go coach Concord University or North Carolina A&T. No disrespect. This is the U, baby. This is Miami, the brand. And then let me ask you this one. So you've hit on really great points. Again, chat box, Ellen right here, Mario has biatch ways. He does. I mean, he is a soft, big dude. I mean, it's
because he come from Christopher Columbus High School. That's why.
That's bougie right over there. Honestly, it really is. I mean, it's like, give me the hard workers that went to Norland or anything. Edison, that's where it's at. Northwestern, Booker T, back in the day. I mean, you don't get anybody here, and that's the other thing too. I think that he fell too much in love with IMG. Looking at Jarrett Gibson, who's done shit at Texas, and everybody was saying Jarrett Gibson, #1 running back. You could have gotten Brown, who's over at Louisville. You brought that up. It's like, don't look at IMG. IMG is a collection of mercenaries that come from all over, and they're a traveling team, okay? I want guys that can ball here. And the guys that you brought from IMG all flamed out. Riley Williams is not even here no more. Jaden Wayne never made it here. Antonio Tripp, who was supposed to be your center, it was
Supposed to
so
be our future
soft and
center. I don't know
gone.
what happened with that.
I mean, Francis
What's
is
the
the
tight
only
end
one
name?
that
The
panned
tight end
out.
that we had got
Riley Williams was his name from Northwest.
Riley
From
Williams, but it was
Pacific North.
another. It was another tight end too.
Oh,
The big tall. He has
I
an
think
African
he's
last
still on
name.
the. Oh, I wait a minute. Maybe the chat
He
box. I
kind of
know who you're
reminds me of
talking about.
freak. What's his name? He played for.
I know who you're talking about.
You know what I'm talking about. He
Yes.
wore he had number 23 for us or whatever. And he was a 4-star all real
Yeah.
tight end that they were saying we never used him for nothing. Like
We didn't. No. But and that's what I'm saying. It's like Malinois was considered the big back, and he only went to IMG because of the fact that it would be closer to Miami, and he could go right to Miami and visit and so forth. And the whole family moved. But like I just cannot believe though that like we just are just. It's everything that we were told was wrong with this program. You're looking at rankings. You're not really evaluating. They had Alonzo Highsmith and they wasted him. I mean, Alonzo was only a great GM to evaluate talent, and you just spit in his face. You know, what about Ed Reed? Ed Reed's not allowed back or whatever because of his comments. I mean, it's like you are worried about dudes that made this program. And to have the performance you had yesterday when the great Ken Dorsey was being honored in the Ring of Honor yesterday, how dare you? Only the winningest quarterback in Miami history. And it's like, you know, who bled and was with Willis, you know, and everything. I mean, it's just unbelievable. And then this one, Fran Brown is who I thought Mario was, you know. I mean, yeah, like I mean, here's the thing. I give
I
Fran
would love
Brown
to have
this.
Fran Brown.
I listen, Fran Brown made his team run because he wasn't happy with how they beat Connecticut. By the way, that Connecticut team beat Duke yesterday, but somehow with this trash conference, Duke is still in the running to get to the ACC championship because they just have to take care of business against Virginia, Carolina, and Wake Forest. Stay with me, LJ, because I want to ask you this. I'm going to get to some other things before I wrap it up here in the next 14 minutes. And I really appreciate you being on. And anybody else that wants to come on, please speak your piece here on Stallion Speaks. But here's my other thing real quick that I want to bring up. Here's some other college football storylines that happened this weekend. There were no firings. Oregon and Indiana found Houdini acts to still stay in it. They both should have lost yesterday. And I'll tell you this, Oregon should be kissing the football gods' ass that they didn't lose that game because the committee even said on Tuesday, Oregon doesn't really impress us, and that Penn State win doesn't hold any water anymore. Well, guess what? You had an opportunity to play a ranked team, and you needed a field goal at the end to win that shit. And then the ACC managed to outdo themselves yesterday. Louisville losing to Cal. Virginia only mustering 7 damn points. I'm going to put these results down here. This was the top 25 games yesterday. Virginia, I say it again, lost to Wake Forest at home. The same Wake Forest that Florida State finally snapped their ACC losing streak to that like hung 42 on. And these are teams that could still go to Charlotte before Miami. It is mind-blowing, LJ. Yeah. It is mind-blowing, Miami fans. And then we have slurpers that say, oh, he needs more time. Bullshit, man. Signetti's getting it done. He found a way to win yesterday. Mario wouldn't have done that yesterday. They would have lost. I mean, you at least need to get your guys prepared. You need to be ready to go. But I look at USC. They found their quarterback. Lincoln Riley is, you know, USC takes out Oregon. You know, I'm not saying they're going to make the playoff. That loss to Illinois will always come back to haunt them. But at least they're setting it up for maybe a run next year. So why don't you do that with the Pringles, with the Josh Moores, with the Dylan Upshaws? And then on the defensive side of the ball, you need to get these boys ready to play, man. And so that's why and then this Saturday, Judgment Day, is going to basically let you know when all the pieces fall. Yes, you got the last weekend, the rivalry weekend on Thanksgiving, and you got the conference championships that will finalize it. But right now, you're going to get a good idea of who the top 11 are going to be. After it's all said and done. Oklahoma plays Bama. We play NC State if you still believe that we can maybe sneak in there and make it. I mean, but again, you needed to come out there and win by 50 points yesterday. and you didn't do it. I mean, so what will the playoff committee could leave you at 18 and think that maybe two teams behind you had a better performance than you. You know, I mean, you're not guaranteed to move up just because two people lost in front of you.
I
I
think
wouldn't move them up, but you
I
know,
think I think our season is over. Me personally,
yeah.
I think we're gonna lose. I think we're gonna lose to CJ Bailey,
Mm-hmm.
NC State. I think we're gonna
Mm-hmm.
probably lose to Pittsburgh at the end of the year, and
Mm-hmm.
it's a coin toss with Virginia Tech simply because we're going away, and we
Mm-hmm.
have the stagnanticity of our offense the way we've been running all year.
Mm-hmm.
We haven't jumped on nobody from the beginning. We ain't jumping on
Correct.
people like that. It's like that old that USC offense with Reggie and them. Sometimes it takes them a while to get going or whatever, and then they start just going crazy or whatever like that. It's like that.
Mm-hmm.
We don't really start showing up until like the third or fourth quarter, and by that time, if we got to play
Mm-hmm.
from behind with Carson Beck, it's over with.
Oh yeah.
If we
Well,
got to
and
play
that's the other thing too.
back, and
LJ, you
if
got
we
a
get behind with Carson Beck,
yeah.
hang it up, hang it up.
LJ, you got a point though. Let me just say this: if they lose to NC State, which I'm actually going to say, go out on a limb and say I think that NC State wins, and I want Miami to prove me wrong, I will come on here and say that I was wrong. My problem with it, LJ, is that if you lose to NC State, what really is there then to play for? Because you're completely out of the ACC title game.
Yeah.
You're definitely out of the playoff, and maybe some guys even just say, deuces, I'm going to be working on my draft stock.
Let
I
me
don't
ask
need
you
to
a
get hurt
question.
in this. Go for it.
If we beat NC State and beat Virginia Tech, would you be madder if we lost to Pittsburgh in the last game, or
Yes.
would you rather lose now
Lose now. Lose now. Because
this next game as opposed to winning the next two and then losing the last game? Because if
and
we lose the last game against Pittsburgh, it's still over. So
yeah, can I tell you this? Here's the crazier part about it. For whatever reason, Mario, and I said this and I got so criticized on the U Talk show, LJ. I mean, people, if you want to laugh, go to my call on U Talk 259 and U Talk 260. People said that I was a Miami hater, that offensive line was not anything that we needed to worry about. The wide receiver room, people were making excuses because I basically said JoJo Trader, didn't have a touchdown last year. I forgot that he had scored against Iowa State, and my response was, "Who's Iowa State beating?" We hear
nobody.
about Matt Campbell every year. That's nobody, okay? And that was the Pop-Tarts Bowl. My point was the wide receivers were unproven coming in. Why do you think of Malachi Tony and all these guys came in? Because there was nothing there in front of them, and they were good. That's why you brought them in here. But the offensive line, I felt was suspect. Like you, they're great pass blocking, but where's the run blocking? I mean, offensive linemen, they get a bad rep that you're just big and kind of sluggish. No, you got to be athletic. You got to be able to move, and you got to. And then here's the other thing too. I question our conditioning sometimes, even LJ, because why can't we do a hurry up? And I mean, we were doing that first year with Dawson, and like you said, ever since the collapse at Georgia Tech, it's almost like Mario took the headset away, and it's like now we're a conservative team. You can't play conservative. You need to score at least a minimum of 30 points, and you need to start fast. I'll answer you this question, though. The narrative, though, is that if we beat NC State and Virginia Tech, this is where people will say, wait a minute, you are going both ways. I think we beat Pittsburgh at that point because here's why. I've never questioned this team in a big game, but in that Utah 259 and 260, it wasn't Notre Dame, Florida, or Florida State I was worried about. I was worried about these lesser ACC teams that you've
Yeah,
always let
that's
hang
what I'm
around, and you
always worried
can't
about.
match their intensity. Why should we be worried about that? Because let me tell you this, Wake Forest, I watched the same Virginia people that stormed the field 5-6 weeks ago against Florida State walked their sorry asses up that hill when they lost to Wake Forest. I
Yeah,
mean, the same Wake Forest that beat SMU, the
yeah,
same Wake Forest that got their asses blown off by that same Florida State team.
yeah.
It's like it's a crazy, stupid conference. It's an inferior conference. It's a basketball and baseball conference. And
I'm done with
ironically,
this conference.
Oh, I'm
I'm
done
done
with
with
it
it.
too.
I
The
don't, I
referees
don't
don't
want
even
no,
know
I
how to
don't want no
call
more of it.
anything.
It's like bad luck. It's like we can't get right. We have to have the right coach with the right mindset to run this conference, or whatever, because it's a wacky conference.
Mm-hmm.
It's wacky. It's just and think about it. We was in the Big East before. Like we was in the Big East. Like
Mm-hmm.
it was like is that the Big East was more like to me like how what Notre Dame is like an independent conference. It reminded
Mm-hmm.
me of like an independent conference, but it wasn't like as tricky. This conference right here, you'd be like, oh, we got Duke next week. We're gonna blow them out, and then we go play them, and then it's like helter skelter, like oh,
Mm-hmm. Yep.
they actually about to beat us, or we go play
LJ,
against Cal or Stanford, and you'd be like, oh shit, we
LJ, can
about
I
to
ask you a
lose.
question? And I want you to be real with me. If the Big Ten commissioner called you and you were the athletic director of Miami and said, hey, listen, see that ACC is not really respecting you. We'd love your TV market and your brand, and you could, we'd love the Miami basketball team and baseball team to beef up that part of our conference. Your women's sports seem to be pretty decent, and we want that football team. Would you come to the Big Ten?
I'm coming.
Damn
I'm
right you
coming.
would.
I'm gonna
Damn
go to the
right.
Big Ten or I'm gonna go to SEC,
SEC. That's
whatever
exactly
team,
right.
because let's just go to the conference that every week is gonna be that big game that
Mm-hmm.
you keep alluding to, like that we show up for the big game. So let's go in a
Mm-hmm.
conference where every week is gonna be a big game, and
Mm-hmm.
maybe we'll stay on point every game. Maybe we
Mm-hmm.
won't. Miami comes out and like when I think we beat who did we beat before Louisville? We beat
We beat Florida State, and I mean,
we beat
but it
Florida
was a
State. So
rivalry
we
game.
just was
Yeah.
like, even the commentators like they was looking past Louisville. They was like, oh yeah, Miami, the way it's setting up, Miami beat Florida State, and that nobody even mentioned Louisville. I'm like, y'all better mention Louisville because
Mm-hmm.
we got Louisville,
Yep.
and we always underestimate these guys. And the only reason why I'm saying that we're gonna lose to NC State and Virginia Tech, not because of the talent, it's just because of coaching.
Mm-hmm.
It's all
Absolutely.
coaching. It's all
Mm-hmm.
coaching.
And we traditionally have had problems with athletic quarterbacks that what Drones and Bailey bring to
And
the table.
and
And
CJ is you don't think for a second,
it's a
don't think
recipe.
for a second that he don't remember them not recruiting him, and don't think for a second that he also on the flip side he might and I'm gonna say this, I'm gonna put this out here. Yeah, if it I even though I don't want it to ruin the relationship with Luke Nickel and Darion Coleman, um, I don't really too much care for Emory. Me personally, I don't too much care for him.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing against him. He's just like he ain't showed me nothing. He ain't showed me nothing yet, or whatever like that. So I ain't really. I love his heart, but he's not my type of quarterback. But
Yeah.
if we do get CJ next year, I still think it's a chance for we still can bring Jeremiah back home.
Mm-hmm.
But
I think we could.
the
I mean,
the
what is
way
Lenore Sellers done at South Carolina this year to warrant that he
I
needs to
don't
come to
like him.
Miami? I don't like
He
him.
ain't. I don't like
No.
him. I mean, he's very athletic. He's like the only athletic quarterback that's like he has the size and athleticism, and he can throw a little bit to that they anointing him as this top guy, but he hasn't showed me the mind of a quarterback like a mind of a Cam Ward.
Correct.
Cam Ward already knew mentally with the way he came in, we was good. And
Mm-hmm.
when Cam Ward had the offense, like how you made the analogy about when Cam Ward was there, as opposed to
Bet.
Carson Beck. Cam Ward, when Cam Ward came there, I said, Cam Ward, this is Cam Ward offense. Shannon Dawson is just his offensive coordinator, but Cam Ward is running the show. Cam
Damn
Ward
right he
had
is.
full range just by the way they recruited him, the way they got him. He talked to
Mm-hmm.
them about that at when they was actually at the
Interviewing
dinner
him.
that they had with Rick Ross, escorted him to Miami Prime. That
Yep.
conversation right there, I got inside of that. Cam Ward wanted to run. He was going to be his own, pretty much his own, run his own offense. Shannon Dawson was going
Mm-hmm.
to call the plays, but he had full power and full control to audible those calls. So Shannon Dawson sent a play in, and
Mm-hmm.
Cam Ward don't like it, and he know how to read his defenses. he gonna audible. He gonna toss Shannon Dawson play and run his own play. Carson Beck is not the same. Carson Beck doesn't have the power that Cam Ward has because Carson Beck is not the quarterback that Cam Ward is. Carson Beck is a quarterback where he's going to take the call from Shannon Dawson in the best. Once in a blue, he might change the play. If he recognizes something, he might change the play to a run play, or he might shift the blocking scheme of the blocking scheme display or switch it around. That's about it that Carson Beck can do. But as far as like an elite quarterback like that, he's not elite as opposed to like processing, calling the play, coming out, processing what the defense is in, what they're running, and getting us in the play that beat that defense. Carson Beck is not that. So, you know.
Yep. And here's the other thing too. I haven't seen that iPad once.
Sellers is not that. He hasn't proven to me that he is that. Sellers is going to be another player that we're going to get. He's going to be a hot shot player. If we get him, they're going to be like, oh, we got Sellers. And he can run, he can pass and run, or whatever. You're going to watch his games, but he ain't proved to me that he consistent. He's not consistent.
No.
I would much rather if we was going to go get a quarterback and break the bank on it, which we should have probably did, and Mario was up to something. I was hoping that deep down in my heart that he would be able to do it. But he ended up waiting too long. I think we were trying to get John Mateer or something like that. Yeah. He kind of like we sit on these certain players and wait too long. But Fernando Mendoza, you know, I'm hearing Dolphins is looking at him and want him to go to the league. But I keep telling everybody the league is not the same no more with this NIL, the way these kids getting money. They can actually stop Fernando Mendoza. Miami, if you're going to break the bank, Miami can actually stop Fernando Mendoza from going to the NFL next year. Since you paid Carson Beck for what, $4 or $7 million?
$4 million.
Fernando Mendoza, $10 million. Go ahead and give him $10 million. I bet you that'll stop him from going to the league. I bet you he'd come back for his senior year and play and be the quarterback in Miami. And we got a real good match because he's from Miami. Cristobal is, I think, his godfather or
there's
friends of his. He's friends with Fernando's dad.
Father, they went to school together.
So you know, if you're gonna break the bank on Fernando Mendoza. Don't break the bank on or CJ Bailey. Don't break Sellers. Yeah,
you want somebody homegrown. You want a Miami guy that gets it, you know. And LJ, I haven't seen the iPad once, and I love that you said that about Cam, because listen, when Cam messed up, man, he went for the iPad first right off the bat. He's like, "What did I do wrong?" Okay, somebody went this way. He's studying. Beck's sulking on the damn sidelines like a 5-year-old that somebody took his candy away from him or whatever. It's like, dude, get tough, man. You're letting that play affect your next play. Cam's looking at that so that doesn't happen again. I mean, you know, it's mind-boggling, brother. It is absolutely mind-boggling. You know, I wanted to ask you something real quick because I also like to talk a little NFL. Did you catch any of the NFL today, by the way?
Yeah.
I don't know what the hell if it was a full moon or bizarro world today, but the Dolphins beat the Bills. The
they
Panthers,
so wacky, man. They so
my God. Look at some of these night and day, scores. Man. Like it was mind-boggling today. The Panthers lost to the Saints. Man. Yeah, the Jets beat the Browns.
I hate them. I ain't gonna lie, I hate them. They're
terrible. The Panthers, who beat the Packers, lose to the Saints today. The Giants, unfortunately, lost that game to the Bears because of Jackson Dart. You know, but the Cardinals got absolutely walloped by the Seahawks. The Niners got walloped by the Rams. We knew what was going to happen to the Commanders now that Jaden's out with the Lions. I mean, that was a rematch from the NFC Championship last year. But I was just like surprised some of these damn teams like lost. And then now look at the order with what's happened. The Titans are still number 1 because they were off this week. The Saints are still number 2. The Browns actually flip-flopped and now we're 3. The Dolphins are now the 7th pick. They went from 3 to 7 by beating the Bills today. I mean, I just can't believe the Bills lost.
The Jets are the perfect team because it don't matter how many games the Jets win, because the Jets are going to still have 2 first-round picks based upon the trade they just made with Sauce Gardner going to the Colts. The Colts gave away 2 first-round picks and A.D.
Can
Mitchell
you imagine?
for Sauce Gardner because the Colts are trying to win right now.
And they
They're
can.
similar to their
They're
team because
doing
they're trying to
good.
make a deep
Yeah.
playoff run. They're trying to win a championship back there, but I still think they need some more pieces to do it. But with this new trade deadline thing going on with the NFL, that's what you see. Like you see some of these teams reaching back to the worst teams in the league, and they taking some of the good. They're making deals for these players at the end of the year. But I think that's a huge deal, and we're gonna see if that it really pans out for the Colts making that move. Because to give up 2 first rounders, I probably would have gave away a first and a fifth or something like that. But it wouldn't have been it would have been 2 first round picks. But the way the Jets sit at 4th, whether they finish 4th, 5th, or 6th, they're gonna have 2 first round picks in this draft, so it don't really matter for them. And they're gonna be able to make their team better. Even though they're a dumpster fire, over there. I don't even know what they need to even make them better. I don't know, but
and then the Dolphins get rid of everybody. The Dolphins get rid of everybody. They gave Jalen Phillips to the Eagles, like they needed help.
And I don't know what only quarterback in college right now that I even think that's potential first round potential is Mendoza. Everybody else is just like Arch got to come back another year. The quarterback from Washington State, I think he's like a sophomore or whatever like that. Like these cats got to get some more years under their belt. But
are you ready for this one? Simpkins from Alabama is actually considered a top 10 quarterback because that's how weak this draft class is this year. Yeah. And he didn't even look that great against LSU last night.
Exactly. He's not. There's no quarterbacks.
No way.
It's only one quarterback in my eye that I would
Mendoza
probably if he went in the first round that I would be cool, and that's Fernando Mendoza. That's it. Everybody else, nobody in college has showed me anything. Of course, Ruben Bain. Of course, Francis Noah. You know what I'm saying? Of course, those guys. Those guys. I feel like when they get to the NFL, like if a good coach will be able to utilize them fully to their full potential, Ruben Bain and Noah. But
if the Titans were smart, they need an offensive line to protect Cam. They would get either Francis Malinois or the Caden Proctor kid from Alabama. If they're really judging who like the best offensive linemen are, that's what you need to do, honestly.
And I feel like one of these NFL teams is gonna make what's the big boy name is my boy Markel Bell. I think Markel Bell is Jonathan Ogden size. Like you got to be able to utilize him more. But also with the offensive line, when we talked about like the offensive linemen, you talked about their conditioning. Did you see the blocking scheme yesterday against Syracuse? Like, did you see how he had all of those linemen pulling? So that shows that we can do it. You just got to call the plays, and that's why I said Mario. He kind of like gets in the way of Shannon Dawson play calling creativity. Like he doesn't. I feel like most of the time those are Shannon Dawson plays, but I feel like when they're in meetings and during the week, Mario goes to him and say, "Hey, I want this," or sometimes even right now when Mario looking at the game, you like, "Hey, get back to what we talked about," and then Shannon Dawson concedes to that and just calls the plays that he knows Cristobal wants, and it's not really him. So I just feel like Cristobal just need to get out of the way and only say something to him when just shit ain't going right. Y'all you focus on all those penalties that the offensive line was getting all this year, because the center that you paid that came from
he's trash from
TCU. He came from
TCU. Yep, Brockenmeyer.
You should have been focusing on Brockenmeyer because he's the whole reason why that offensive line been struggling this year. Struggling a lot this year, and he's the reason why a lot of the plays ain't been executed right.
Correct.
So that's what you should have been honing into, Cristobal. Like, take a look at your offensive line, and you got enough offensive linemen from the starters to the backups because the Pancake Honcho is a backup. You know what I'm saying? He's a backup.
Tommy
So,
Kinsler is a backup.
Tommy
I mean,
Kinsler,
it's
Ryan Rodriguez.
Well, and you know what we did see? Remember Inez Cooper last year was blocking somebody out of bounds, and the ACC refs actually threw a flag on him.
Yeah.
And it's like, isn't it supposed to be blocked through the whistle? And it's almost like, again, you're in a trash conference that doesn't understand football, and this is how you play in the Big Ten and the SEC because they blow your ass off the ball, man. They do. And if you're not ready to play big-time college football, there's the door, man, honestly. And I don't understand why we have cowered because a coach with nuts and an athletic director with nuts would tell this conference, you need us. So kiss our ass. We better get the calls that Ohio State gets. I mean, let me just tell you this. Yesterday, the ACC probably would have called that Indiana player maybe bobbled the thing and he didn't get a toe in, and Penn State got the upset. But the Big Ten knew better, LJ. The Big Ten the ref was watching his feet. He saw he got a toe in. Touchdown, motherfuckers.
Yeah.
That's it. Indiana's getting in this playoff. We are getting 3 teams. We want the money. The ACC, they care about basketball, man. They don't give a shit about football.
If they would have cared, they would have got that call with SMU together. When Lightfoot didn't hear the whistle and he showed that he tried to gather himself and hold the quarterback up, y'all should have let that slide.
Correct.
But again, we're the poster child program of unsportsmanlike conduct or the things to not do. So with them taking a whole national championship away from us, I already suspect. That's what they say. Take the game out of the ref hand. If we handle business early, it don't even come to that. It didn't even have to come to that. You know what I'm saying? But when we put the ref, especially Miami, when we put the game in the referee hand, y'all gotta know. Y'all already gotta know what it is. Like that's why I said don't even get mad. You should have been mad for 20-something years when they called that extremely late call on Glenn Sharp, and we lose the national championship. We have 6.
And we ain't been right since. We ain't been right since.
Hadn't they not called that?
Yeah.
So how are we gonna expect them to make the right call against SMU? No, they didn't want us. They didn't want us there. And I really feel like if that call is picked up, we win. I feel like we win the game. I do. I really do. But
or how about this one?
We did to solidify that even better than that.
How about that bang bang play right after halftime? That could have been a scoop and score, or at least we get the ball right there down the field, and at worst we get 3 points. And they said, oh, his arm was going forward. Maybe, but again, I think if Ohio State is to cause that fumble, that's going to stay a fumble. I don't care if his arm went forward or not, you know. And the same play happened yesterday when SMU played Boston College. They left it a fumble for those guys, by the way.
Yeah.
The Boston College's quarterback was doing the exact same motion you called the week before for their guy. I mean, it's unreal, brother. It's unreal.
It's unreal.
LJ, I'm going to finish up here, but I wanted you to be a part of this segment before I close it out, and I wanted to thank you for being on and anybody else that did the chat box. But I have a thing that I like to do every week called the Idiot of the Week or what have you. And obviously, if you haven't subscribed already, please subscribe and forward the show to everybody. We're up to this is Rebels with a Cause channel, and I'm expanding this network. And we've come from Utah, and I love Devin and Larry and all the things that they do over there. But realistically, yeah, man, they're wonderful, and they've helped me grow this channel. They're continuing to grow the channel. But I have an idiot of the week. I have idiots of the week, but I want you to go first. Is there somebody in any sport that happened this week or this weekend that you just flat out think is an idiot, and what did they do that constituted them being the idiot of the week in your eyes?
In any sport.
Chat box, you too. Anything that stood out to you, because I have something that happened, and it's just like I always like to just bring that. So yeah, for sure. So
in any sport that was an idiot this week, what did I see? Well, no, you go first, and then give me that way. Give me time to think.
Okay, I got you. Well, I've got 2. I've got one that I've got delusional fans, and then I've got something that was just inexplicable yesterday that took the place of why I was just going to do these delusional fans. We have a group of people that just love Mario, that Mario can do no wrong, that, in Mario we trust. And I don't want to start over, is their saying. They call me and Larry and a lot of the people that are on the same page that we're the ones that are the bad fans, that we're not all buying in. And that's just completely untrue. And it's like what Ellen said in the chat box, what other people have said in the chat box. You're just accustomed to this. We know what it was like before you all were born. And I'm not trying to be rude to this generation, but a little respect for your elders and a little respect for history. But these guys are having a TikTok and they're having a watch party ordering pizzas for the delivery guy of where we're going to be ranked for the first college football playoff committee. Did they forget that we lost to SMU in Louisville? I mean, if we had been undefeated, that would be something worth to watch, to see maybe we're one, maybe we're two in the committee's eyes if we're undefeated. Guys, I could have saved you the $25 as well as this stupid watch party that happened on TikTok. We were 18th. There was nothing to prove we were any better than the 18th. We had just lost to a terrible Walking Dead SMU team and a Louisville team that it took 3 quarters to figure out Virginia Tech and really showed who they were yesterday against Cal at home in overtime. Those are idiots. Those are the idiot Miami fans. How dare they say that about us? What we are is we're the honest fans. My second idiot of the week are these coaches that had the game plans that they did against Oregon and Indiana, respectively, for Iowa and Penn State. And LJ, Stallion Speaks chat box, Rebels with a Cause audience and subscribers. You did it for 56 minutes. Did you just get stupid all of a sudden and go to this prevent shell shit? You attack them. You have nothing to lose at this point. Nothing.
Yeah.
And you still lost because you just are garbage. You had one job. You could have knocked off Indiana. You could have knocked off Oregon, Iowa, and kind of helped Kirk get back in the graces that the game hasn't passed him by. And these defensive coordinators should be fired on the spot because you don't change it right then. It worked for 56 minutes. Mendoza was absolutely stifled. All his yards, most of his passing yards were on that drive where he looked amazing. You weren't going after him. Why would you change that? So they are my idiots of the week. Go ahead, OJ.
My idiot of the week is Mario Cristobal. Again, the idiot of the week is blocking Willis McGahee from the program.
Disgusting.
And also investing time in stuff you should be investing time. Your time should be invested on making sure your team wins every week. And you shouldn't even be worried about who this man is hanging out with. You shouldn't be worried about none of this stuff. You shouldn't be wasting energy trying to get Nevin Shapiro's podcast blocked. Nevin Shapiro podcast is banned on YouTube for a week. You think Mario Cristobal don't got nothing to do with that? You think people really everything is Mario's fault? I don't care what nobody says. If you think that he's responsible for blocking Willis McGahee, then who is? Who is the Wizard of Oz that's behind our program that's really running the program then?
Keeping Ed Reed away.
Whoever that is, if it's plenty of boosters or whatever, then shame on y'all. Y'all are the reason. Y'all are the reason. Don't get mad. Don't start calling these podcasts talking about I don't like the way my money is being spent. Well, you guys is the ones who went and got Mario. You guys was the one who went and got Manny. You guys was the ones who went and got Mark Rick. You guys are the ones who controlling everything. Y'all keep making the wrong decision. Y'all just keep, but Mario Cristobal is the idiot of the week because that's just inexcusable for blocking Miami royalty.
Who gave both his knees while he was at Miami.
People should be able to speak their mind. People should be able to royalty should be able to speak their mind. If our program is not doing good and they don't like it, let them boys talk. They deserve it. They earned it.
They did.
That's like you trying to tell Andre Johnson, Santana Moss, Devin Hester, or somebody like that if they don't like what was going on and they over there talking trash or whatever, they got to get out of here. What?
Mm-hmm.
If Ken Dorsey was talking trash, you gonna do the same thing to Ken Dorsey?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yep.
So Mario Cristobal again is the idiot of the week. He's gonna get
and he is. And I'm gonna tell you this, LJ, if by some chance he even spent a fifth of the energy that he spent to find whatever during the YouTube broadcast and maybe get YouTube's people involved to block it because maybe some threat was made or something, something that messes up the guidelines or whatever to get it banned for a week. If you spend that much damn time on that or had your people do it, then why don't you have your analysts and people come up with a damn game plan to stop Louisville or to stop SMU, who has a one-legged quarterback dragging his leg around? Why it took you 27 minutes to put points on a team that was pretty much a collapsible chair. And you're going to come out unprepared, unmotivated, and just completely like in the realm of the possibility, and it's senior day and it's the last home game for Miami when it should be a coronation of these seniors for what they've had to put up with for so many years, that this could have been their year that they announced themselves back. And then here's the thing, it wouldn't have just been your last home game. You could be here 3 weeks from now at the Orange Bowl for the quarterfinals of the playoffs. But no, you wanted to do it different. You wanted to be special. He is an idiot. And anybody that believes in him still, until he proves otherwise, we can continue to say these things because he's not growing as a coach. And yet he expects his players to make, and he's not even holding himself accountable because they're not making their moves and so forth. And again, you recruited these guys, you entrusted these guys, and there's something wrong there. And until you hold yourself accountable and hold these people, like you said, LJ, that are making penalties, you should bench their ass, make them learn something, and get somebody in there.
Yep.
And you're not going to get better without making the mistakes and you playing scared. It's college football, man. You've got 60 minutes, and then this bullshit. Oh, we'll get them next year. Nah, man, you get them this year. You take care of it this year, man. This year. So, yeah. But brother, thank you for being on tonight. Wonderful surprise. You're welcome here anytime. It's Sunday nights. It was a little later this week, but you can come back next week, speak your piece, because that's what this is all about. Stallion speaks and everything. And let me just tell you this. How dare anybody say, I don't love this program? My heart breaks still from that Fiesta Bowl. I was there. I took the Penn State Chaffee Fields loss tough when we allowed him to score there in the rain, and we had Penn State and LeVar Arrington beat all game. I will go back to every damn game. Alabama, Lamar Thomas getting stripped by George Teague. I was 8 years old at the time. I mean, my gosh, man, nobody better ever say I'm not a Miami fan. I've spent money that I didn't have to go see them. And the only thing about this freaking conference is when I moved to Knoxville 30-something years ago, at least it was doable for me to go catch a game. And somebody's going to test my knowledge of football and what I expect of this program. We should never lower our standards. Not you, not me, not anybody that really bleeds the orange and green, man. And this guy supposedly bled on that field. He needs to find himself again. You need to go find yourself and have a conversation with yourself and not be a sellout. And I want the guy that had a cool interview on the You documentary. That's who I thought we were getting, not this shell, a sellout right here. Pinocchio, Pinocchio terrible, as Miss Ellen says. So, but any parting words before we sign off, brother? And I'm gonna throw up that you, baby. And this is how you throw it up correctly, Mario. Look at how he doesn't even know how to throw it up correctly. No, this is how you throw it up, and you don't have that stupid look on your face. You throw it up with confidence because that's what makes men. Confidence, not fake stuff. Go ahead, brother.
Hey man, it was a good show. I'm glad I was glad to be able to get everything I wanted to say tonight off of my chest. And just going forward, just remember what we said and just remember where you heard it. And y'all gonna see it. Y'all gonna see a lot of the stuff that we talked about. It's gonna start to unfold in the weeks to come. And just only time will tell. Only time will tell.
Absolutely. And let me tell you this. If this Miami team comes out like I think they should and beat ass, then guess what? The first 2 minutes of next week's show, I will apologize to Mario and I will say that I was wrong. But here's the truth of it. You've not proven me before. You didn't do it yesterday. And real quick, before I let everybody go, I've never seen a more depressing post-game conference after a win than what I saw yesterday. I want everybody to think about that. That's what my parting words are going to be with. And you really need to ask yourself, even the slurpers who are having the watch party on Tuesday, tell me about how number 17 or 16 feels for you. Go order some more pizza.
Yeah.
I want you to ask yourself, is this guy ever going to get us to number one on the first playoff spot? Because I want to stay number one when the actual one comes out right after that Sunday after the conference thing.
Yeah.
But anyway, we out. Great show. Next week, Stallion Speaks. Back to the normal time at 8 o'clock. And as always, everybody, go Canes, and there are better days ahead. Stallion Speaks is out.